My name is Jim Smith, and I've been a USAA member for maybe about 19 years, maybe 20. I first joined USAA when I was in the Corps. My staff sergeant said, "Son, if I can give you any good piece of advice, it'd be to stay away from the Asian women in town." And then this private came from behind him, and he goes, "But you told me USAA was the best piece of advice." He goes, "Well, I knew you weren't going to get any pussy either way, so I gave you a good piece of logical advice for someone in your situation. Handsome Jim here, though, he needs other advice." So anyway, based on the private, I checked out USA, and the rates were great. My insurance rates were great. I banked with them. I think I had an investment account at one time. No life insurance, but my auto policies, owner's policies, things like that. We had a great relationship. My life took a dump when the recession hit, and I'm not going to get into all that, but it was shit. And USA was with me the whole way until they decided not to be, for no fucking unreal. And this is a true story of horrible customer service and communication. Okay? So at one time, not that long ago, I was homeless, and I was living in my car, so I wasn't shelterless, but I was homeless. And I had called USA several times to reiterate this because I was still working. I was working here and there, and I get these checks, and I never had any problems with USAA with holds on checks. They just always cashed them. But all of a sudden, because of my low balance, average balance, they were starting to put like these holds on these checks from Wells Fargo or whatever, right? So it was I had to call in and say, "Why are you doing this?" Blah, blah, blah. And they'd release the hold, but I always had to call in and fucking cry, pretty much. Like I'm living fucking day to day. I need this money so I can eat. It's like, it's not a lot of money, it's just, it was really, it really sucked that they didn't have somewhere in the notes that I called in, and I said, "Really, do I have to go through all of this again?" It was like reliving what was going on in my life every time I called in, so I could have a check clear, so I could have access to my money. And but oh well. And I always ask, "Isn't there something in the notes?" No. So I end up doing one of these health studies where you supposedly for this natural product or whatever, and this company was going to pay me like $1,200 or whatever, and they weren't paying, and I had done the whole study, and they weren't paying, and finally, and I was taking action. I had contacted the Attorney General, and at the same time I contacted the Attorney General contacted them, and they had just sent out 2 checks to me, and I had talked to them before. I said, "Do not draw those checks on banks that nobody knows. I want it drawn on a well-known bank, like a Wells Fargo, Bank of America, something like that." And they assured me they would. So they sent a picture to the Attorney General saying, "Here's proof that we sent this. Here's the checks." I still have this information too. I may have thrown it away because it pissed me off so much. But anyway, so they sent me 2 checks, and then they were supposed to send me more. These were just partial payments, but they both bounced. So all of a sudden, this was right at Christmas time, and I was in LA. I had taken the money out, and I got something for my daughter for Christmas, and I was driving to Phoenix, and the way I was able to drive to Phoenix is I would put an ad on Craigslist saying, "I'm driving to Phoenix, it's $50, and people would give me $50, and I would give them a ride to Phoenix, and that would cover my gas there and back almost. Oh no, pretty much just there, because I would drive while I was there. But anyway, I would take care of it. Usually, you do that both ways. So, and then I visit my daughter and got her computer, things like that, things for Christmas, spend time with her um, while I was getting stuff situated. And so these checks bounce, so all of a sudden my account's in the negative. And USA contacts me, you know, and I explain the situation. You know, I've been, at that time, been a member with them for 15 years. And never had a situation like this, never had a check bounce. This check was written to me, by the way. It wasn't like I wrote the check. So first of all, this company committed a felony, you know, knowingly, twice, and sent pictures to the government to prove they did it. You know, it's really odd. So this is the information that USA had, knowing that these were, you know, knowingly gonna bounce and all this stuff. Instead of saying, okay, we're just gonna put a freeze on your account or whatever until this gets zeroed out or we figure things out, we'll take action. Because, you know, I mean, that's what you expect them to do. He, like, advise you on what to do, and, you know, like, okay, well, you need to, this is a felony, you need to contact this, blah blah blah. No, instead they closed my account, so I had zero access to it. Didn't freeze it, they closed it without warning, and knowing that I had VA benefits that would go in there that would make it on a plus. And like 8 days before my VA benefits came in, they closed my account. So not only do I not have a bank account to cash my checks anymore, and at this time it was going to be very hard for me to open up an account. So I had to go to check cashing places. Not only did they close it early, but I would have no access to the leftover from the VA benefit that would have taken care of the overdraw, plus given me some extra, and that was a matter of 8 days. You know, because I mean, it was a couple. I think it was like a month, because I had one VA payment, didn't cover the whole thing, but then this one, and so what do they do? So not only that, so now I'm like, where are my VA payments going to go? Well, they collected the money from the VA, even though they closed the account to me. They collected the money and then sent me a check for the difference. And this is why I will never fucking deal with them again. You know, they base their rates on you being a very perfect person, and if you have any sort of you know, like I moved into a really nice apartment building a couple of years ago, and they had a secure bike lock area, and that was fob only, and you know, I had my bike in there behind a secure door with a bike lock, and my bike got stolen. And so USA, I had made a claim. It's my first fucking claim with them in like over a decade, and it's usually the only claim I had with them was I think it was like really just my windshield, because you know, something would happen to my windshield. They've never had to. I had one accident from a guy who cut me off, but over the years, I'm pretty, you know, a safe driver and all that stuff. So anyway, this one claim raised, turned out, because I was going to get auto insurance, and it raised that because I had a claim. I'm like, so I pay for insurance, but when I use it, I get punished. It's such a ridiculous. Oh, now you're a risk. This is no risk pricing. Yeah, we'll cover you, but really, you know, we'd rather just charge you this for the rest of your life and never pay you anything. But if we're gonna have to pay you something, we're gonna have to charge you more. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I would rather pay someone more, because they knew my situation, and they the fact that they took my VA money and then issued me a check. That's like 8 days. They could have waited 8 days. They could have informed me, emailed me, made some sort of contact, you know. And it put me in a real spiral of things, and also not even helping me. You know, this company, I mean, I had information from the Attorney General. I had all. They didn't care at all. They became a bank, and I'm still a member, but I don't have any products with them, and I won't. My girlfriend wanted to check the insurance out, but We had it on there for a month, and we said no. They're just ripping me off, you know. And so I couldn't believe, because I claimed a bike, and among other things. I mean, over time, they probably risk assessment. My credit sucks, things like that, So, but if you look at my driving history and if it's auto insurance, but my bank, that was a separate thing, and that was just a relationship thing with the company, and so just not interested in dealing with them anymore.